Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Sacred Self-Worth interview series. I'm here today with Stacey Cooper, who's going to be sharing some of her wisdom with us. And as you know, this whole series is about having a better connection to ourselves, having a better relationship to ourselves, and really seeing how that radiates out and improves all areas of our life. So, Stacey, can you give us a little intro of who you are and what you do?
Yeah, hi guys. So I am a personal trainer, yoga instructor, meditation teacher, and spiritual wellness coach. And kind of what led me to my newest venture, Body Honor, which is where we're always beating ourselves up and kind of telling us how we're supposed to operate with fitness and yoga and our meditation practice rather than listening to our body. And I was in personal training, just kind of heavy, like fitness competition arena for like about 15 plus years, and beat my body up just kind of from an external perspective of what I thought I was supposed to look like. And it really led me to more of my yoga and meditation practice and truly listening to how my body wanted to move, and more of an intentional thought process as far as just the mindset, the shame that we put ourselves through and the loathing that can come up when we don't hit our goals from an external perspective. And so that's kind of where I'm at now, is helping women from more of the inner work as it relates to their movement journey and and adding in more self-compassion.
I love it. I love all the words that you just used too, movement journey, compassion. There's a word with an I that's escaping my mind right now. I think it was intention. Yes.
Yeah.
It's such powerful words and such a powerful shift in the perspective of, a lot of people I think are a little more rigid or harsh when it comes to exercise. I love intentional movement and just, movement that brings me joy rather than like speaking about it in that way and engaging in a relationship to movement rather than it's this thing I have to go do.
Right. And then also allowing ourselves to listen to what our body's needs are each day and in different phases of our lives. Like there's times where maybe we need to dance, we need to go swim, we need to do this. We're taught that we have to like go to the gym, go do this, and we make this, tough structure. And then if we don't hit that, we shame ourselves for it versus kind of checking in and evaluating either at the end of the day or end of the week. Hey, how did that feel? Did that feel good in my body? Maybe I learned I didn't like spinning. Maybe I learned I do like this, or, just checking in with ourselves and honoring the body for kind of where it is each day. There's times where you're just like, you know what, I'm too tired, I need to sleep today. And then the next day you're like, okay, I'm going to move today. My body's calling for movement, and learning how to listen to that voice.
Yeah, I love that. So much of my practice and philosophy also is really connecting to the body from a cherishing, honoring place with how you move, with how you walk, with how you talk, with how you breathe, just being aware of how we're showing up in our physical bodies and listening to what our bodies want to tell us.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there's times where, with clients, we'll start with, okay, let's set up a commitment to yourself, right? But I always say, at the bottom, I tell them, I allow flow and ease with this. I release self-judgment when it comes to whether I hit this or not. That this is set the intention, but letting go of the outcome, and make it a working model and go, okay, what did you learn about this commitment? What worked, what didn't, what felt good, what didn't, so that there's always a flow, because I do think that balance and our movement and our emotional eating habits, all these things are going to be a flow depending on the week and where we're at. So really releasing self-judgment.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm hearing an echo. Oh, are you hearing me?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay. There's an echo, or you're not here? I'm not hearing
it. I don't hear an echo, no.
It sounded terrible for a while, so I apologize for that.
No
problem. But what I was going to ask is, how does the concept of self-worth come up for you in your work? And how would you define self-worth for yourself?
Well, I think as women, especially, we attach self-worth to our body and our external view. And I think a lot of people do. It's, if I lose 10 pounds, I'll be worthy. I'll be worthy of this. A lot of times it comes up with people, if I just looked a certain way, then I would get that job. Then I would, be in the relationship. So they attach being worthy to this thing or multiple things based upon their body or their view of themselves. And so what we work with is, okay, you're worthy now. What feels good now? What is true to you? So we work a lot with affirmations and things like that. So, when it comes to the body, what is their view, their consistent negative self-talk? What's the shame, the stuff that comes up a lot? And then we go, okay, how do we rework this? And even from, I think I mentioned one time from a neuroscience perspective that with affirmations, a lot of times people just write the opposite. So let's say it's something like, I won't get a good job unless I'm, lose 10 pounds. And then it's like, instead of just writing the opposite, okay, what does feel true? Because what happens is there's this internal war in the brain and the body contracts you because you're like, oh, that's not true to me. I don't feel it. And so we go with, okay, what are you open and available to sometimes if something feels too much, right? So something that doesn't create that internal contraction. Mm-hmm. Or I've had clients sometimes where they're like, listen, nothing really feels true to me. I don't know what to do here. Even if the I'm open and available to thinking otherwise doesn't work for them, we go, I'm unavailable for that thought anymore. And so that seems to work. And so what happens is then after a few weeks, then they're really kind of like, okay, they're doing more of the inner work. And then they start to be available for those kind of working affirmations because, after that's a consistent practice, it does come back to their self-worth. Like, oh, wow, something happened that I didn't expect. I thought I had to have this in order to have this. And then they, have evidence that supports contrary. And they're like, wait, I am worthy now. I'm worthy if I'm eating cake or kale. I'm worthy if I'm moving or staying at home and doing meditation. So a lot of that, releasing the attachment to their body, movement, fitness, eating patterns, their worthiness to, it looking a certain way to them versus they're worthy right now at every single phase in their life.
Mm-hmm. And if someone doesn't believe that they're worthy now, how do you play with that? Like, I'm not worthy to even try.
So I would say working with, if they're really having a ton of resistance to it, just I'm unavailable for that thought currently. I'm unavailable for thinking I'm unworthy. Because just even at a base level, I've had some people that are like, hey, this is so foreign to me. And we just work with, I'm unavailable for that. Mm-hmm. And then we'll play around just through some journaling prompts and things like that. We'll find some things. When do you feel best in your day, in your life, in your body? When do you feel the most confident? And we may work with that from a journaling perspective or even a meditation perspective. So when do they feel the best? So finding where that is. Is it in their work? Is it when they're at the beach? Where do they feel the best and the most themselves? That's a big one too. Where do you feel like your true self? And what are you doing? And how are you feeling? So that they know that they can come home to that feeling at any time. And then we'll play around with some journaling and affirmation with that.
I love it. So self-worth is essentially coming home to your true self.
Yeah. I know, and just, we are deserving. It is, I love the word birthright. Sometimes too, it's like, it is my birthright to be healthy. It's my birthright to love myself. It is, we are all, I just love that word. It's, I am worthy because I was born, I am worthy at all times in my journey at all spaces.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And I think that's a good perspective because I would imagine most people would have a hard time telling a brand new baby, you are, not worthy or you're bad or, so that's so true, is imagining that kind of innocence that you're born with. And there's this, I don't know if you've heard of the book, The Untethered Soul by Michael Singer. It's a really big book. And if you've read it, and I think it's either in chapter 1 or 2 where he equates
the mind, like, he's like, imagine if that was your friend, that chatter, and he gives you a little practice, go in the shower and listen to all the things that come up. And he's like, once you listen to that chatter, like, would you really want that as your best friend? So thinking about listening to that inner voice, and the awareness is key. Awareness is always that first step, right? So it's throughout your day, if all of a sudden you're going, man, there's a lot of negative self-talk in there that comes up. Would I speak to my best friend this way?
Yep.
Would I speak to others this way?
Yep.
And it's kind of a really interesting exercise to do when you're like, man, I do that a lot, and then you catch yourself, and that's where you can work with kind of the reframes of like, where you do feel better and kind of speaking to yourself more like a friend.
Yeah, absolutely. I always say befriend your mind, befriend your body. It's with you all day, every day. And there's really, it sucks to go through life if you're not aware of like, oh my gosh, I hate myself, or I'm really mean to myself. To carry that without the awareness is so challenging, and that's not a way to live. And once you become aware of, oh my gosh, this is the noise that's going on, and this is how I'm treating myself, awareness creates action.
Yeah, one of the exercises that we have clients do is one of the main and first ones is write a thank you letter to your body. And some people are like, wow, I've never done anything like this before, and even if it's just starts with one line, if there's resistance, and some people are like, wow, the floodgates opened and we're able to write a page or two on, wow, man, my body has seen me through a lot. It's been with us this whole time,
Yeah.
And your body is worthy of love, through all its experiences.
Yeah, I love that. Can you give some examples of how this type of honor and cherishing of ourselves shows up in our movement, and how we can start to work with movement to honor ourselves?
You've heard me say it a few times now, I'm a huge fan of journaling, but from an actual like tool perspective, just because I still do, personal training and fitness now, what I'll do is start with 1 or 2 minutes of intention. So have them close their eyes, whether it's thank you for, the movement that I'm about to go through, thank you for what you're about to do for me. So creating intention. So maybe it's even like, I'd really like to not be so hard on myself today. So this is all like an internal dialogue, similar to what you would do in yoga. So being a yoga instructor too, I was like, how come we don't do this with fitness? How come we don't do this before a run? Right? In yoga, it's called a sankalpa, intention.
Yeah.
So an actual, thing that we do is setting the intention before the movement. I mean, obviously, if you're in a group fitness class, you could do it in your car before you walk in the studio. You could, it's wherever it fits for you. And then with movement, I've also had people add in something similar to Shavasana, like 2 minutes of just lying down on the mat after. So if they're in a private training session, we'll have them do that, adding thank you for the movement, letting the body integrate. Some people, there's resistance to that, obviously, if you're at a gym or if you're in a group, right? So even if it's something like you go to the mat and you do a little stretching, even if it's in your car, even if it's on the grass after the run, even if you're worried about what someone's going to think of you, just kind of slow down your breath and say a few thank yous.
Yeah.
So working in thank you, thank you, thank you. So again, integration of, and then it just creates that kind of synergy of, the body's had the intention and thankful for the movement. And then the journaling. So the journaling of checking in with your body. How did that feel? A lot of us, I think, we're told we're supposed to do things, or we view something online, or there's a program and there's things that didn't feel right? Or you went too hard and you hurt yourself. Especially if, you've been through an injury or a traumatic experience and people just go straight into a really hardcore program. I see it all the time. Versus listening at the end of the week or even at the end of the day and go, how did that feel? Let me honor what I'm hearing, about how my body felt about that movement practice.
Yeah, absolutely. There's no rushing,
right.
Your process. I understand that comparison comes up a lot, and people see, others at their goal already. and they just want a quick fix. They want to get there. They want to be there. And it's really about being where you are right now, connecting, understanding, having respect for that, rather than wasting time wishing you were somewhere else.
Right.
Like, be where you are, and then you'll move to where you need to.
Yeah, and I always say, like, attach to the feeling, because so many of us attach to we're going to lose 10 pounds or we're going to do this. Why are you moving your body? Attach to that. I want to get healthier because I don't want to be out of breath when I walk up the stairs anymore. I want to be able to play with my kids. I want to extend my life. Go to a feeling of, what are you trying to achieve? One of my favorite things is chase the lifestyle, not the body. So it's what kind of feeling, do you want to create in your body? And that's also really powerful when you're doing a movement practice to kind of work yourself through.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, from the neurological perspective too, is there's when you feel it, there's so many signals being sent throughout your entire body, and you understand it more, you connect to it more, rather than just a thought.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
And the forgiveness. Yeah. I would say forgiveness and self-compassion too are big, as far as, I call it the snowball, the shame snowball. If we don't, say we only make it through 30 minutes of that group fitness class, or we just didn't get up one morning that we said that we were going to. I think from a neuroscience perspective too, there's always, you have to add love into the equation so that experience can release as well. So it's like, okay, hey, I found out I'm not a morning person. I love that. That's cool. I'm going to try nighttime now. Or, yeah, I found out I didn't love this movement. Okay, forgive myself for that. That kind of thing.
I can absolutely relate to that. And forgiveness, excuse me, is my favorite F word.
Right? I love it. That's so good. I know, because it's just, and I love the word self-compassion too, because it's like, what was I feeling? Oh man, okay. Can love on myself for that. Like, okay, I get it. Even when it comes to, nutrition habits, it's like, oh, okay, what did I kind of witness and observe? What did, rather than, shame and go, oh, okay. Oh, I was feeling that. All right, cool. Okay. I was feeling lonely. All right, cool. Now I have this awareness surrounding it, versus beating ourselves up for an external goal and what someone told us there was supposed to be some diet plan or this or that, versus what feels good to you.
Yeah, absolutely. You have to be aware and connect to yourself. And you hit so many points that I imagine people would kind of try to refute what you were saying of, setting an intention, connecting to yourself. You hit all the points of, if you're in a group class, if you're feeling embarrassed, get creative. It doesn't have to look like Shavasana on the floor in perfect silence with serene music playing, and a waterfall behind you. Like, it can literally be, in a spin class, for example, just 10 seconds of just taking a couple really deep breaths. It's an inner process.
Right. So those long, slow, deep breaths, they actually get us into what's called our parasympathetic nervous system. So workouts, the intense ones, get us into sympathetic.
Yeah.
And especially people that, like my clients that have had maybe some trauma or an injury or things like that, cortisol is involved, stress response in the body is involved, which there can be some good things, right? We've all heard when adrenaline gets going and that we get those endorphins and the high and everything. But that's not always for everybody in every type of a movement.
Yeah.
So I think it's why a lot of your trainers or your group fitness instructors will tell you to kind of make sure you have a cool down, make sure you stay for stretching, that kind of a thing, is because there's that transition that the body deserves and you deserve. And thanking, your body, exactly. It doesn't have to look, you can say it in your head. You don't have to make it be all perfect Shavasana, right? So that there's that transition of spaces. Whether it be after movement, or I have some clients that are resistant to meditation. It's okay, 3 minutes in your car before you go home or before you go into work. 3 minutes. Everyone can do that, right? So there's just this slowing down of the breath, rest and digest, transition from spaces, which has had a lot of really good results with people that are like not into mindfulness or meditation or anything like that. They can do a few deep breaths after a workout.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Transition is so, so important, even between work and going home. I remember when I was going through, my master's program, that was like reinforced over and over again, have a transition between the work that you do and then when you step home, and just don't bring the energy of the past with you. Kind of start fresh, clear. And I absolutely, again, I work from a trauma informed model, and it's so important I'm going to reiterate that high intensity workouts can mimic re-traumatization almost.
Exactly.
And so don't beat yourself up for not being able to get on the treadmill and run. Your body might actually be having a panic response. So maybe you need to start with a more gentle workout and even stay in that gentle workout, because our bodies will settle in a place that is healthy for us. And you just have to kind of be patient with it and really connect it and get curious with it, rather than thinking you know better and telling yourself how it has to be.
Exactly. I'm so glad you said that, because that's actually kind of why this new whole movement was born, was because I was having that experience. I've been through an eating disorder, recovered from sexual assault. And I would have panic attacks when I started some of my heavier workouts. And I have some clients now that when they do the higher elevated workouts, like running in particular, it can mimic a panic attack. So I'm so glad you said that. So it's coming from we have trauma-informed yoga, and I was kind of like, we don't have trauma-informed fitness. Why aren't we kind of telling everybody about this? Where informed perspective of, well, we're moving our body through space in yoga. We're moving our body through space in fitness. There also needs to be a time where we're kind of going, is this right for our body? What are we feeling? Like, what's going on? Because it absolutely, especially when the heart rate gets up like that, it can mimic a panic attack. So I'm so glad you said that.
Yeah. It's so, so important. And, it kind of breaks my heart that group fitness and the fitness industry is not quite there yet, because I think it would be so valuable to announce, at the beginning of a group that, if you start to have emotional stuff come up, that rather than trying to push through it.
Yeah.
Because your body and mind are connected. Whatever happens to your body will affect you mentally, emotionally, It's just, there's this awareness that we have to be aware of for ourselves until the knowledge is spread around a little bit more.
Yeah, let's be part of the movement forward, because that's what I'm all about. And we're going to move into some kind of in-person group stuff in LA, and hopefully I can be part of that movement forward and educating people that there's a need for that even in the fitness space as well. Because it's easy when you're doing a one-on-one client, you can really talk to them, how you doing, how you feeling, what's going on, and they feel comfortable talking to you. But we need to set that, as a group fitness instructor, there needs to be an invitation for everyone to allow themselves to listen, rather than be like, oh my gosh, I have to stay in class, and that kind of a thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And I know for myself, I'm a highly sensitive, kind of empathic, intuitive introvert. And so group fitness for me is probably my worst nightmare. It's I like a yoga class with like 4 people in it,
Yeah. That's the damn.
Yeah. And that's okay. That is perfect. That is fine. I do not need to be a marathon runner, God bless to them if that's their thing. But like, don't compare, find out what works for you.
Absolutely. There's people that are like not gym people, and they always tell me when they first start, they're like, I'm not a gym person. And maybe we're in a gym setting at that moment. And I'm like, hey, how about we work out outside? And they're like, I can do that. I'm like, yes, we can. It's like listen to what your body really resonates with.
Yeah, absolutely. Soul. Yeah, absolutely. And do you want to share a little bit about this free gift? I think this kind of ties in nicely to what you're generously offering our audience.
Yeah, absolutely. So I offered a workbook and then a 4-week mini course. So just kind of like a jump start to this whole process of, if listening to the body and kind of intention with movement and thought is brand new, it's really great for kind of like, where do I start? There's a few of the exercises, like the thank you letters that I just talked about. So some letters, and then there's homework each week that are based on 5 pillars. So there's movement, so any of your movement practices, and then there's nutrition, nourishment, and there's self-care, and then mindfulness, spiritual wellness, and then growth, self-compassion. So those are the 5 pillars that it's built off of. So you'll have homework in those 5 areas each week, and then there's a journal prompt. So for the whole 4 weeks.
Amazing.
So it's really great if you're just, by the end, you'll be able to get in that habit of listening and going, wow, I learned a lot in these few days about what I do and don't like. And
yeah. And I'm so grateful that you're offering that, because it is a foreign concept to so many people. And, these interviews have touched upon techniques, processes, practices. And so I think this will be a nice, way for people that this resonates with to really try it out for themselves and get a little support and guidance. So it's so awesome.
And it's super basic in the sense where if it's somebody that's already been doing a mindfulness practice, great. And if it's somebody where it's brand new, it's like, okay, start here. So it gives you kind of even if this is completely foreign to you, you'll feel supported.
I love it. What sort of message do you want to share with the audience regarding self-worth and, why it's important?
I think it's knowing that, I love the word self-compassion attached to self-worth, right? Because it's going back to that we're only worthy when. It comes up so often. And really just challenging, you are worthy, like going back to that, the day you were born. You're worthy. Every single experience is neutral. It's our response to it, right? So it's just through knowing that we're worthy of love and navigating this crazy world together, and community and support, and just knowing that we've all been through so many of the same things. And it's like, the person sitting next to us probably has the same worthiness feeling about, a subject that we do, and it's like, so often we kind of think we're the only one going through something. We're the only one that feels this way or shames ourselves this way. And so I really encourage support and community. So thank you for what you're doing here and creating these interviews and this summit. And it's just incredible because more people need to know that they're not alone. And then once you see yourself in someone else, once you have that mirror and reflection, you're like, I would never think that person isn't worthy because of this. Why am I treating myself that way?
Yeah.
So we're having that self-compassion, that compassion that we give others. Can we give it to ourselves to know that we're worthy in all phases of our life?
Yeah. I think it's been really fun for me to do this series and hear people's answers about self-worth. And, 75% of the time, it's like what you just did. I'd like to add on self-compassion or self-love or self-acceptance or self-care. And that was exactly what I was trying to convey, is that, there's so many different components and angles and where you could come at this place of self-worth, self-love, self-acceptance. Mm-hmm. And, there's so much knowledge out there to take advantage of, like this free series, and just kind of dip your toe in the water and see what it's like and see the ripples that it creates.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, thank you. And how can people find you? What's your social media website?
Yeah, so the website is bodyhonormovement.com, and then most of the social media handles are Body Honor or Body Honor Movement. So we have a free Facebook group actually too that's great for support that we just started. So if it's just Body Honor under health and fitness, and so that would be the best way to find us. Yeah, we have a community that supports each other, so you're welcome.
Is it men and women or just women?
Oh, I should say, yeah, the Body Honor is just for women, but as far as, Stacey Cooper and Stacey Cooper Fitness, I do have co-ed clientele, but the Body Honor in particular is for women. Good question.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, I thought so. A lot of this series has been focused towards women. My work is very focused towards women. I love men, no disrespect. And this is what I feel called to do.
Yeah. So, you call it a specialty. Yeah, we're open available, but specialties.
Yes, yes, absolutely. Well, thank you so much for your time, and all the links will be below this video, and stay tuned for more. I'm Ilan Navarro. I always forget to say my name in the beginning. I feel like it's everywhere anyways. But thank you all so much for tuning in, and I will see you guys soon.